All right. Good evening. Welcome to the Tuesday, June 18th, 2013 Board of Directors meeting for Petaluma Community Access TV. Would the secretary call a roll, please?
Cindy Thomas.
Here.
Eric Adams.
Here.
Matt Pearson.
Here.
Jason Davies, myself, here. Neil Fishman.
Here.
Rachel Moran.
Here.
Georgia Tria. Absent. Marcia Trent.
Here.
Tim Williamson.
Here.
John Bertucci.
Here.
Thanks.
Okay. So we have a quorum and we have no requests for public comment, obviously. And so we'll move to the Board of Directors comments and announcements. What do we have tonight? Matt?
I have one. For those of you who weren't able to make it, we had a very successful Petaluma community breakfast for the Santa Rosa Junior College Petaluma campus, where we talked about their annual achievements and the plans for the upcoming years at the Petaluma campus. We did videotape the whole presentation, and hopefully in a week or two we'll have it up on PCA. So those that didn't make it, stay tuned for some more fun presentations on Santa Rosa JC.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What else? What's going on? Tim, what's going on with the city? Anything? That's frightening. Anyone else? Okay, then we'll close that segment, and everybody's looked at the agenda. Is there any modifications we want to make to that?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? All right. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Did anyone have a problem with the minutes? That was negative.
Motion to
Was
approve.
everybody, okay.
Second.
Any discussion? All's in favor? Aye. Any,
I abstain only because
okay,
I was
one
not here.
abstention here. Okay, any other abstentions or? Okay. Treasurer's report, please, Matt.
We have money.
Yay.
Yay.
That's the quote.
How much?
Currently have 126,000 as of the end of the month.
Wow.
We
We
gotta spend that.
are processing some reimbursements to the city from our capital expense fund for the studio build out, which they'll hopefully see in a couple weeks here. John just informed me. So there is some drawdown on that account, but it'll be reimbursed from the regular generic checking account when the city reimburses from what's left in the balance of the capital expense fund. So beyond that, no other exciting news that I have. John, anything to add anything?
No, our quarterly checks are in. We've got a capital expense check that's due in, and then we'll be billing the city and the school at the end of the quarter. This is the end of the last quarter of the last fiscal year.
Wow.
So, in looking through the financials this year, it looked really strong because it looked like the revenues were up and expenses were down a little bit, and it looked like there was a shift of a few $1,000s to the good on that. But I was curious about it looked like there really was a big drawdown in the capital expense fund, if I was reading it right.
Yeah,
There's only
studio
about $20,000 left, so I'm just curious. Did I read that wrong, or is that?
That was the build up for the studio, isn't it?
Well, we spend that money out of operating funds, and there were two capital expense reimbursements. The first one was for about $12,000, and the one that I'm waiting on is about $15,000. It isn't all for the studio. We've got lights and filters and a copier machine and that sort of thing. But that comes out of operating expense. So we had 85, and we spent 25. So we've got 60 left
Oh,
in our
okay.
capital expenses.
So I missed it. Thanks.
And of course, that fund doesn't renew itself anymore. So
Right.
when it's gone, and then we have to pay for it out of operating expenses.
Except that we do have a separate unrestricted capital expense account at the bank. And I think if we have a big carryover this year, I think it might be smart to start moving some money into that instead of putting it back into the city.
We were also using that for revenues when we sold or retired previous equipment that we don't use anymore. We were moving it into that account.
Yeah. And I wasn't questioning like we were spending too quickly. I was just curious as to, if we're gonna spend it, now's the time to do it when we're building a studio, so.
Yeah, and we've been spending.
Okay, anything else? Everybody's good with that?
Thank you, Matt.
Sure.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Executive Director's report, please, John.
Okay, now this is where I get to stretch the gloss. We had a great time, Caitlin and I, at the Alliance for the Community Media Conference at Union Square in San Francisco. I went down, she and I went down on Wednesday, and she stayed over with friends and went on Friday. I'll just give a quick list of what we got. She got very involved in archive.org, which is a neat sharing, programming, hosting operation. It was a very exciting topic. A lot of people were interested. You know, they do things like they have music, rights free music, lots of old shows, new shows, a listserv on the website was an idea she came back with. Something where people could actually use it, more interactive website use. And she really got charged with the mission of public access. George Stoney, somebody had made a documentary about George Stoney, who was one of the founding fathers of access. And she got the message, which is very exciting. I was concentrating more on partnerships, collaborations, and contacts. You know, access is, you know, we're already on the curve of trying to broaden our media resources, but they were saying it's more community than media. It's a meeting place, a place for people of the community to come together and be creative. It's interesting, I did canvass a couple of stations. San Jose has 140 members, Berkeley 150, Long Beach 175. Denver has 300, but Denver's a whole other operation. They lost their funding, and so they set up an open service kind of thing where the members actually program. You go into a computer, you submit, you find a slot that's open, you program. So there's a lot of interesting ideas there, how to resurface after if you have trouble with your operating funds. Long Beach went dark for 3 years, and they were reborn as part of a local community center that was doing low-income tax consulting and medical services. And so they had a real strong community base, and they said it really helped. It helps them get attention at city council. I also made some contacts on the low power FM. A woman named Sue Wilson who's got a blog and does a lot of advocacy nationally. She said that if you want the low powered FM, you got a 95% chance of getting it. And if you have an access station, 99%, because you've already got the structure in place. And Zach, I didn't get it on my list of topics, but Zach just learned yesterday that the window for applying for the license is in October 9th to 29th. So we're excited about that.
Choose to open that this year?
Right?
We think they're gonna actually open it this year?
They announced that it's open that period.
Okay.
We've been waiting for that announcement. They could change it again.
That was the same period last year,
Yeah, they
right?
just postponed it again. So I'm gonna plug, Zach's got a good go-to guy for the nuts and bolts, and I'm gonna plug him into Sue Wilson for polishing the request. And she said it's probably about $25,000 to get the antenna and all the broadcasting equipment, but my big relief is that we can run it out of the station, so we don't have to have extra staffing in another site. I learned a lot about open media, CMAP, that's in Gilroy, and a lot of media activists. Philadelphia's got a really hot operation, and there's a thing called Magnet, which is a network of activists. I got to see a lot of my old Free Speech TV friends, and they remembered me. So it was good. It was a good trip. studio build out. We got a target to be ready for action in August. The studio, we got the curtains up. Next, the wiring went in today. Now Zach is going to hook up the equipment and test it out. So it'll be operational in July, but we don't really want to open it to the public until we get a solid grip on it. And also we want to define the procedures. How do you use it? How many crew members you need to do it? We'll be having orientation tours in August. That would be like an hour where we invite 10 people to come in and get a tour. And then we'll start doing accreditation classes for crews. That would be the best bet. 3 people who want to do a little news show, and we'll teach them how to do it. And that's hands-on. Our next POV screening is next week on Wednesday. It's Off and Running. It's a documentary about a young girl runner. Starts at 6:30. I should warn you though, standing room starts at 15. 15 people. We can host 15 people. And the last time we had 16 or 17, but there were a couple of kids on the floor and a couple of people had to leave. We'll give priority to members, and we may eventually have to make it members only if it becomes really popular. They're good films. We've got a bunch coming up. I think one of the next ones is going to be a documentary on Patti Smith, Dream of Life. There's one called The City Dark, which is a fascinating introduction to science of the dark. An exploration of stars. These are really well-made documentaries, and it's really fun. Last time we had our TV breakdown, the morning of the screening, we maybe got 3 or 4 hours out of it. So Zach's been hassling because people who sold it have an answering service in India,
Oh my gosh.
and it got really complicated. But finally, it just came down to common sense. They sent us a new one, and we got the box to send the old one back. We got a real strong set of classes coming up. We're going to be doing Final Cut Pro again in July. The dates are July 17th, 24th, and 31st. And Max is going to do a stop motion. That's Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, July 8th through 19th. There'll be 6 sessions.
That's cool.
They're almost full with reservations, but no one's paid the fee yet. So if you're still interested, get on the list, and we'll be calling up the waiting list. I'll be teaching in August. I'll be teaching a 3-session class on how to produce 3 to 5 minute news reports, a little field footage and interviews, and hopefully that'll stimulate some studio production. We may try to do a Spanish language version of that with Mario teaching, and we'll be doing our studio orientations. Caitlin wants to do a class on how to put together a movie out of found footage, and that's on the drawing board for September. And Thomas was thinking maybe he could teach a class on how to do little short scripted videos. We're doing the fair again this year. We've got passes for members and interns to go in and make TV. So far, it's mostly staff and interns, but we can get more passes if people get inspired. And I'll be taking a vacation. I'll be out next week and the following week. It's going to be a staycation. I've got a lot to do here, and I've got an art studio, so I won't be bored. And I will be able to pop in and do payroll on the 1st, and I'll be doing the check requests. I wasn't able to train Caitlin, but I'll be able to leave a stack of checks. She can get them to adds up and then give you guys a call for the signatures. And that's my report. Although I could add one more thing. I went and covered the Jared Huffman town hall. We had a town hall for seniors on Medicare and health benefits, and Marcel helped me. It was great. We went out as a team, so had a good time. That's it.
And did you film that, and did you film that and
Yeah,
get it on?
we filmed it. I'm editing it now.
Great. Super.
There was one thing you didn't mention that you mentioned to me, that you had a really good staff meeting, which Marcia attended.
That's true.
And she's hit the ground running with a bunch of ideas, which I reviewed.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited. I'm
Yeah.
excited that Marcia
Couple of
is
those-
excited.
Yeah, we had made a date to have lunch and talk about the board binder, but I'd forgotten that we'd moved our staff meetings from Monday to Tuesdays. So there's Marcia, there's the staff meeting. I said, you want to stay? She did, and I thought it was very instructive.
Yeah, it was for me too.
now everybody was on good behavior.
Maybe
It
we can,
definitely got me fired up.
yeah, we can go into that a little more when we talk about committee assignment.
Yeah, and the annual members meeting.
Great.
Okay. Any questions for John?
Thank you, John, for the
Thank you,
steady ship.
John. Okay, so we have nothing on our consent calendar, so are there any reports of committees tonight?
Oh, wait a second.
What?
I skipped an item. This one's
Did
good.
you?
Yeah.
We can rewind,
Rewind.
rewind to
kind
item
remembers.
7.
I just want to say that in the last 3 months, we have 19 new members.
Wow.
It's popping. We have 141 active members at the present time.
100 and how many?
141.
And those numbers that you quoted earlier for like San Jose and Denver, those are their members for,
That's active members. Berkeley's got 150, so we're not far
so
off.
we're not far
That's
off from
awesome.
Berkeley and San
Or
Jose.
better.
Look at the per capita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Way
so
We're
better.
that's-
doing great.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And these are really, really energetic people who are really happy to be there and cut the buzz. You know, Caitlin and Zach have been going to schools, pitching, that helps. Caitlin went to Hackberg and did a nice pitch, and they were all excited. They were like, wow, that's just down the street. So, you know, we could have a problem having too many members. Yeah, 19 of them, and 141 total.
Nice.
Fantastic. Well,
great.
that's great news.
That's the most we've had in a long time. Okay, so I understand we don't have any reports of committees, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, then item 10, old business, number A, item A, discussion only of modifications to the city agreement for annual financial reviews. John?
Well, you all know this because I sent out the email as soon as I got the letter from John Brown, but the city has approved our financial review. That's 3 years out of 5. We do an audit. We have to do a full audit on the 2nd and the 5th. And we've already done the 2nd, so we have the next 2 years of financial review. And that's more than half, a drop by half of the budget we have for that line. It's 4,200 at the top, because they don't really know how much it's going to cost. They don't know how much time it's going to take. But they said it wouldn't cost more than 3,200 with 1,000 for the income tax. And it was 8,500. So that's good news, and it's great to have this on camera so I can thank John Brown, and it was very pleasant working with him. He understood right away the value, and it's just a question of working out the protocols.
Great.
Okay.
That's it.
That's all for old business. Under new business, we have discussion of possible action on committee assignments, and I didn't bring my notes from last meeting, so where do we leave that?
Committee assignments.
Committee assignments are right on
I'm
the
gonna
on the
look at the
agenda.
minutes real quick here.
The
No, that was the meeting before.
board,
Yeah, I don't have that.
board responsibilities are that you should be on 2 committees,
Right.
at least, but not less than 2. I think Cindy's on 3. Well, not anymore. Kirsten's on 3.
I'm on 3.
So it's really, what do you want to do, Marcia?
Yeah.
Well, I think outreach and development, maybe, and start with 2, and maybe I could get on another one, but outreach and development, maybe in finance.
Oh, that's. As Eric would say, outreach and development is the most fun.
Okay, so have we heard from George lately?
He didn't come in for his radio show last Friday, and
I'm sorry, in addition to outreach and development, what was the other one, nominating or?
finance.
Sorry,
Finance.
thanks.
I could take a shot at nominating too. That's
The only reason I said that was because there's only 3 people on it, but there's also only 3 people on finance, so.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Anymore, right?
Yeah, the nominating committee I don't think needs to be as robust as some of the
Right,
others.
Yeah.
it's a seasonal committee,
Yeah, okay.
Sounds good.
seasoned well.
Maybe, yeah.
But anytime, by the way, that you have someone that might be interested in being a board member, please ask them to come to a board meeting or suggest that they fill out the forms that are available on our website, because we're always looking for new membership and new vitality, so that'd be great.
I absolutely will.
We still have 3 vacant seats on this board, don't we?
Wait a second, don't we have to do a motion approval of Marcia's committees before we move on to the next item?
Do we,
Right.
for committees?
Well,
Right.
that'd be on 11A.
Yeah, we're
11A.
Oh, yeah, we have possible action.
Mhm.
I move to add Marcia Trent to O&D and finance.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so,
That was easy.
yeah.
Welcome aboard.
We're on a schedule. 7:40.
Sure, run along.
Yeah,
I look, I mean,
I'm gonna lose
sounding
the
boards
full,
math.
I'm happy about that.
Sheet you have here.
Okay, do we have any other, assignments we want to readjust, or is everybody happy with the current assignments? All right then. The next item is discussion of possible action on board nominees for the 2013 election, which is coming up in September.
Right.
So,
It has come to our attention, and John, correct me if I'm wrong, that by some quirk, there actually are no board members here that are up for re-election this year. So
How did that work out?
there was an appointment to, whose seat was it?
Ray Johnson.
Rachel,
Ray Johnson.
Matt was appointed to take Ray Johnson's position, seat. We have 5 elected seats and there are 5 seats filled. Cindy was elected in 2011 for 3 years. Matt was appointed to Ray's, he has 2 more years. Neil and Rachel were elected. Neil had 3 years, he came on in 2011. Rachel came on in 2012, so did George. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have no vacancies in the elected seats, so we really don't need nominees. We need to go through the procedures to let anybody who wants to get elected.
Okay, so the elected seats that were vacated and then filled, you don't start at 3 years when you put them in. They finish a term, they don't,
That's what I understood.
right,
that would make the rotation remain in place, which
Right.
is important.
So I guess 2014, Cindy's seat will be available
and the seat that Ray had would have been, will be available
And Neil's.
then, right.
So we'll have 3, we'll need 3
Right.
elected seats next year. We don't need any this year. So I really wanted to know what the implications, the ramifications of that are. Do we need to have an election? I think we should, but
But what, and if we have no,
yeah, if we, if
yeah.
nobody petitions to get on the board, which is
Mhm.
a lot of work when they just have to come and ask. What's the
Right.
point of it?
Okay, but we have no vacant elected
Yeah.
seats, so,
Even if we
a
did have an
party-
election, right?
yeah, a party cannot petition to fill
An
a
elected
seat that's not
That's
available.
true.
That's right.
Well, so we don't have an election this
So we do not have an election this year.
Are there any appointed seats available?
Yes. There's always appointed seats available because we're not at full,
So they could campaign for an appointment?
Right, we
They
can,
could.
we can push for people to apply for an appointed position. But that's,
Way more political than an election.
really, we
That
still
look
have
is
to have the
priceless.
members meeting.
Oh, yeah. That's, and I think we need to go through the pro forma gesture of sending a letter to all our members saying this is the situation. There's still room on the board if you're interested.
yes.
We could appoint you. We also do something where, I mean, we've done it in the past, where at that election meeting, we could reappoint Marcia so that you're on the full annual cycle.
Right.
That's a nice trick.
If we have new members who are in high school or seniors or something like that, this is great for resume, it's great for community service, it's good to get into school, or somebody younger.
It'd be lovely to have some young.
Even in their 20s who could use a little resume boosting would be great.
And the pay is so good.
Pay is good.
So, then is it sort of the advice of the board that we don't do any election materials or anything, but we do write a pro forma letter to our members saying that we don't have an election this year, but anyone who is interested in being on the board shall, we encourage them to move forward to be appointed or to request an appointment.
Can we send it out by email versus?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good, yeah.
John,
Yeah.
Ken, maybe?
Do we have everybody's email address, correct, for all the members?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
we use our email quite a
I mean, I'm okay with sending a letter out to those that may not have email, but why send all the postage?
Exactly.
Sure, and all that work of putting a letter together, which is even more.
Yeah, and we're still obligated to post the members meeting with the newspaper, so we could still include that blurb in there.
Yeah, that would be the message that goes with it. And the members' meeting is the next item, so.
Well, then I move that we direct John as such.
Second.
Appointments only, especially youth, and send an email.
That's great.
Any more discussion? All's in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Done.
done. Okay, the last item on the agenda is a discussion of possible action on the annual members meeting. And John, what do you got on that?
Well, we talked about that with Marcia, and then today at our staff meeting, the staff bounced the idea around. Marcia had some great suggestions for where to have it, but I'll cut to the chase. The staff thinks we should have it at the office. We're very proud of our new office, the studio, the lounge. We had, I've been at 4 members meeting, and the first 2 were in this building, and we had like 2 people come to the first one. The second one was maybe 5. The first luminarian at Marcel's community room was a gangbuster. And maybe 50, 60 people, not all at once, but they were coming and going. It was very lively. That was the best. Last year's was very elegant. I loved the museum, but it was kind of tired. It didn't really fly.
What about the art center?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, I'll give
But I also like what you're saying about doing it at
Yeah, here's the list that Marcia submitted. Well, I suggested Terra Firma Farms, because I like their...
we were just there.
The Petaluma Art Center, the Petaluma Sheraton, the Hotel Petaluma, Rooster Run Event Center, Petaluma Adobe State Park,
Wow.
and Petaluma Vets Building, and possibly the KOA. So there's a pretty good run. But
Try this.
So
I think the Art Center would probably be the most exciting, partnering with,
It's also
Other
kind of in
nonprofits.
the middle.
but I liked having it at the office.
didn't we
I
talk
didn't
about
think of that, and I like it
possibly
too.
Lagunitas, or is that
The
just for a
office.
fundraiser later?
That could be a
We
fundraiser.
think about a fundraiser later for that.
Okay.
And the fear of it not being well attended is
Right.
more painful in a big place.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, but
so, the staff, we had an idea for the location, would be in the office. We could, we wouldn't be having luminarians this year, as far as I understand.
Is there a fee for the art center versus the office? Is there,
I don't think
if
there's a
people don't show up, are
fee.
we losing money?
I don't think there's a fee, there's probably insurance, and it's contingent on what their gallery schedule is.
I like the idea of having it at PCA, personally, especially if we have the studio to show off.
And we've got the lounge, we can do screenings, kind of around the table
Mhm.
screenings. We thought we'd do screen the class productions. We're gonna have a product coming out of stop motion. We already have something that came out of my interview class, a little documentary on the hobby show. And my news reports could generate some material to show.
We won't have a problem with capacity if enough people show up. What's the capacity?
It'll look crowded.
We can
Yeah.
handle over 50. We got both offices and people would mill around.
We have overflow out in that front patio too.
Yeah,
That'd be good.
Yeah,
Yeah, we didn't have a huge turnout at the museum.
no,
That would have easily fit in
yes,
this year.
that was fun, I really
It was a
appreciated
good
that
event.
space.
Just wanted to walk.
We have a theme, it would be We Celebrate You. And we would highlight members, interns, sponsors, and partners. And maybe give them, Caitlin and I are already starting to bounce ideas around some kind of presentation for our interns especially. We've got 3 or 4 that have been coming through really strong. And they call us now, we don't have to go out and beat the bush. We have a steady flow of calls coming in for internships.
wow.
Do we have a date yet for this?
October 10th, Thursday night. So that's kind of my proposition.
Mhm.
Have it at the office and highlight the members.
Make a motion to have it at the office and highlight the numbers.
Second.
Okay then.
Okay, and
Motion here.
Caitlin is raring to go on this. If there's anybody on the board that wants to work with her, she'll be welcome to have it. Thank you, Marcia.
Who seconded that?
Any further
Excellent.
discussion on the motion?
Who seconded it?
I did.
Marcia.
Okay,
I
Marcia did.
okay, great.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Done deal.
Said 7:30.
Wow.
Yeah, can I change my vote?
Remember the old days? Can we take a moment to remember the old days?
Yes, a moment of silence.
When it was
I think-
10:30.
Yeah.
What did I put
For
down,
speed bumps.
7:40? We still have a few more minutes.
She's caressing the results here.
Anything
We're
else?
running out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I will add one other thing, and I'm not doing it just to extend the meeting. And that is that at the last meeting, we did talk about having an O&D meeting on the topic of fundraising. And we didn't do that between the last meeting and this one, so I will add that as an item. And I will put out the word on scheduling that.
Okay,
And we can, actually, it's a good thing, because Marshall will be involved
yeah.
as well. So.
And she's on the finance committee.
Yes, perfect. Oh, that was the other thing, aren't we supposed to have a finance committee meeting also? Or no?
No, we had one last month.
Right.
And, I mean, unless there was any concerns or.
Oh, we did have
budgeting,
one last month, that's
We did.
right. All right, never mind.
I mean, if anyone thinks there's a need, I'm for it, but I guess, I don't know what the topic is.
Fine.
We could just shuffle some money around.
I have a question. Do we get any interns from any of the colleges during the summer?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, the ones that stay around for
Oh.
summer school.
That would be kind of nice to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get credit if they need it, or if it's their part of their career track, they get experience.
Okay.
Must
Okay,
be
is that
something
it?
we can
I'd
argue
like to make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, so moved.
Second.
Okay,
All right.
I think we're all in favor of that. Thank you very much for being here, or I guess
Thank
we're
you.
adjourned.
Who wins the poll?
Closest.
Who wins the pool?